Welcome back to the Irish Mags Show, episode 63, lads. 63 episodes deep we are. And we're coming in after a hectic week or couple of weeks in the Newcastle United community.
Absolutely.
And lads, I've just been looking at it. It's not going to get any worse or any better. I mean, it's going to get even more intense with the fixtures and what we have ahead of us. But it's exactly what we live for, and we're looking forward to it. A lot of talk about cup doubles going around. I'm afraid the double I have here with me isn't as exciting as a cup double, but I am joined by Mr. Chris O'Martin and Mr. Alan Williamson. How are we doing, lads?
Very good.
Not too bad yourself, lads.
Good. Paul, love to see you.
Are you all in one piece after what has been? I mean, we're going to be talking about the Premier League shortly, and I feel like it's been ages since we've been talking about the Premier League because of all this cup madness. But Alan, are you still in one piece, considering we've reached a Carabao Cup final and we're potentially on a run for another cup final if things go our way?
Still slowly but surely keep myself together. Look, the domestic treble is still on. Only club that can still do their domestic treble.
Oh dear. Okay, so we are a minute and a half into the podcast, Chris, and Alan thinks we're going to win the league. Anything to comment? Any official statements?
I'm with him all the way. Like I said a couple of weeks ago when we were making our predictions for the end of the season, so I said we'd win the FA Cup. Al said we'd get into the Carabao Cup versus Liverpool. One of them's come true. We've got a good draw against Brighton at home. I think that's a good draw. And really, if I'm looking at it here, who's left? Villa, Forest, Man City, Bournemouth. Teams in form are left. I wouldn't count anybody, Cardiff City, Millwall, Preston, Burnley, any of that. So I don't see why we couldn't get to the two finals. And
I would have liked to have gotten a draw against one of the tiny teams, like Plymouth or Manchester United, one of those kind of silly teams.
Hey, I like that. I like it. We all say you want Plymouth. They did just knock Liverpool out, which is terrifying.
They did.
Liverpool's
absolute heroics.
Deadly.
Heroics by them. And we have zero sympathy for Liverpool. The same way, lads, poor old Liverpool playing Everton there in the midweek game. And I feel so sorry for them because they conceded a goal X number of minutes after the allocated injury time that was given.
Delicious.
What a tragedy. That's never happened in the past, right? Fabio Carvalho, you know who you are.
Yeah. I watched it last night. It was so brilliant. It was such a fitting end to such an old traditional stadium. And I've been there once before to see Newcastle versus Everton. It's a great stadium. And that volley was almost Brazilian. I don't care what time it came at. I just thought it was magnificent. What a way to end it. And it's 41 wins for Liverpool, 41 wins for Everton, and then the rest draws. I think that's really cool way to end it.
Yeah.
Should have went to penalties for the laugh. Just, I don't know why. Right. Well, enough Liverpool talk and Everton talk because we have enough to be talking about on this week's pod. We're going to be talking. We'll touch on some cup final things, particularly from an Irish Mag perspective. Nothing yet set in stone, but we want to just update everyone on things that are in progress. Eyes emoji, and then we're going to move our attention, as we said, onto Premier League matters. We travel away to Manchester City at the weekend, and dare I say it, I don't think there's a better opportunity to do that. We have a terrible record in the Etihad. We don't have a great record away to Man City in general, even before all the millions. We're going to dive into what we think our chances are. And to bring us towards the end of the show, we're going to have a little spotlight special, lads. I gave Alan and Chris a little bit of homework earlier today and asked them to pick their all-time Newcastle United five-a-side team. We once did our all-time 11, which got us great amounts of controversy and some interesting comments. This is a bit more narrowed in. We're going to focus on a Newcastle United five-a-side team, and we haven't shown each other. I don't know what the lads have picked. Chris has probably done something wild, and I'll be amazed if there isn't a Jeff Hendrick attempt thrown in there, but not on my watch. And if there's time, lads, I might just give you a little quiz before we finish out the show, if you're good as well.
Sounds good.
Alan, I just want to start with you really quickly. We have a cup final coming again, second cup final in 3 seasons. It's hard to believe, and it's absolutely great. But more importantly, we have a lot of work in progress from an Irish Mags perspective because we've many things to think about here. There is travel with regards to cup final, meaning there will be some people traveling to London, obviously, and maybe even some traveling to Newcastle. So we're looking at both those locations to see what's going to be happening. And then dare I say it, Al, this could be a record for most amounts of meetups on Irish soil. I don't know if we're going to hit the 32 counties, but we're not going to be far off.
We're not far off it. None of this is guaranteed, so just bear with us while we talk through this for a couple of minutes, obviously. But so far, in the pipeline for meetups in Ireland, it's looking like we're going to have, obviously, Dublin, Belfast, Cork, potentially Galway, Kerry, Portlaoise. There was also some talk of maybe a secondary meetup somewhere else in the north of Ireland, so we don't know where that's going to be, but for lads who aren't in Belfast to get to somewhere else. Then a couple of the lads in Wexford were saying they might have a meetup together. So we're looking like we could nearly have 10 meetups in the Republic or in Ireland just for this cup final. And then we'll also have at least one meetup in London, which the three of us may be at. We will have at least one meetup in Newcastle, which the lads who are over in Newcastle for it will be at. And if there's any Irish mags anywhere else in the world that want to throw an Irish mags meetup in, just let us know and we'll get you onto all of our promos for it. But at the minute, that's what we look like we're going to have. And anyone else who wants to set up another Irish mags meetup for the cup final, do not hesitate. Get in contact with anyone and we'll sort it out for you. The more the merrier.
Yeah, Irish mags. We'll have Irish mags meetups in Kuala Lumpur, in Auckland, in Los Angeles, and I believe there was even talks of Castlebar. So that's how far the net is being cast.
Wow, Castlebar! Wow, that's far.
Excellent. Well, as usual, keep an eye on the WhatsApp groups. If you're not in the WhatsApp groups, get in touch. theirishmags.com. You can get us through there. It's info@theirishmags.com. Or you can reach out to any of us on all of the socials, etc. We'll be updating the website once we confirm all of those. We can confirm that we're making Tev earn the money. He doesn't get paid as he works on a lot of this stuff as well, which is it's good to see Tev do a bit because we know that the three of us do all the work around here. And
we do all the heavy lifting. He does nothing as well.
That guy.
He'll love that. Cowboy. He will love that. No. Look, just to reiterate really quickly, it's amazing. I think Al will concur here. So will you, Paul. 6 lads meeting up in the Camden, just wondering, I can't believe there's somebody who supports Newcastle in Dublin, having a bit of a crack, watching.
How many years ago?
I think it was 2, 3, 4, 4 years ago.
3 to 4, I'd say.
3 years ago. We're 3 years into this Magnus, as we said.
This Magnus, and then now you have 12 or 13 meetups around the whole country. Lads flying to Newcastle, lads flying to London. I mean, I don't know how many. I don't know exactly. I think Tevin was somewhere between 55 and 85 people going to London. I mean, that's a massive amount of people to all meet up in the centre of London.
Yeah, we'll see how it all materializes. But the percentage of the 70-odd thousand Newcastle fans and Geordies that are going to be in London, the Irish Mags will be making up a percentage of those for sure. And if you don't hear us before you see us, you'll see us before you hear us because it'll be Irish Mags, gear, hats, scarves, headbands, the whole shebang.
That's it.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to it. As Krisha just alluded to, we will do a proper cup final episode when the time is right. But it does look like the three of us may also travel, assuming we're allowed to by all our respective other halves.
We'll do a video log, right? We'll do a video log and do maybe like a mini podcast over there, maybe a live video.
I mean, we didn't get cancelled from the last vlog, so far so good.
Yeah. I also don't think we'll survive trying to record ourselves after the amount of alcohol we'll consume while we're away. Let's be honest.
Yeah. He's right. He's right.
And look, Alan, it's going to be hard to keep a vlog going when we win the Carabao Cup final on.
Hey, come on!
Set at the start of the season, lads. It's not going to happen.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Right, let's park the cup madness for the time being. We're not even going to talk about the Birmingham game. I think enough time has passed since that. It was a wild old game, a great FA Cup fourth round clash.
Yeah. Good to see Willett playing well. Good to see Willett playing
well. And I think we'll use that to move into the Man City game because there's going to be some question marks and decisions to make. More for Eddie Howe than us, lads, because we don't really have any say. But let's talk about Man City and let's talk about the Premier League, lads, because it's been, as I said, it's been a while since we had to talk about the Premier League. And I just wanted to start off, lads, really quickly. And, Alan and Chris, if I had wandered up to the Bleecker Street bar back in the end of September and October when things weren't going so well and you had gloomy heads about you, 24 games into the Premier League season, as it stands on the day of recording, we're 2 days out from Newcastle against Man City. Both Man City and Newcastle both have played 24 Premier League games. Both have won 12. Both have drawn 5. Both have lost 7. Both have amalgamated 41 points in the league. Both have a goal difference of plus 13 goals. And as it stands, Man City are 5th and Newcastle are 6th because Man City have scored 35 goals versus our 29. And they have conceded. Sorry, let me repeat this. They have scored 48 goals versus our 42 and conceded 35 versus our 29. So there's basically 6 goals between us and Manchester City after 24 games played, Alan. Here's the question. One, if I'd have told you that back then, would you have thought I was mad? Even in general, had I said we'd be level with Man City on points at the beginning of the season when we got to the middle of February? And is it fair to say we call ourselves equals now? Is the big one.
I would have thought you were mad, but then I would have thought that Newcastle were in a title race and not that Man City had fallen so far down. That's the problem here. Are we equals? As much as I'd love to say yes, their January transfer window just proved we're not in the same league as them, unfortunately. But this is when you want to play them. They are massive and they're definitely hurting. This is our one opportunity to finally go to the City of Manchester Stadium and get something out of them. It's been enough times we've gone down there and gotten a hiding. We really need a big performance, and that's all we need out there.
Chris Shaw, I think Alan's point is very valid here. You know, you're looking at Man City season as a whole. It's definitely not gone according to plan. We're seeing things we're not used to seeing from a Pep team, things we're not used to seeing from a Man City team. Now, I'll throw some stats at you here, Chris Shaw.
Yeah.
In terms of playing away to Man City, we have beat them away twice
in the last
25, 30 years. That's as far back as I was able to go because I got tired. We've beaten them twice. The last time we beat them, and here's a trivia question for the listeners. The last time we beat Man City away was 2014. And we beat them 2-0 away from home. I mean, lads, can you even guess who was on the score sheet? 2014.
It's the soccer score.
Rolando
Aarons is correct.
Sammy Amiobi.
What?
It is not Sammy Amiobi. Chris was right. It was, of course, Moussa Sissoko. Good memory. And lads, I mean, I don't know how we managed to beat these. It was a League Cup 4th round.
Yeah.
And we had a lineup with an Irish goalkeeper in the form of Rob Elliott. And a midfield with the likes of Mehdi Abeid, Gabriel Overton, and Jack Colback, and Aarons and Adam Armstrong up front.
Look, here's the wild thing about all of this, right? And Al is right. You look at the January transfer window, and that is how far we're off monetarily, so on. We don't have that kind of buying power, and we don't have that pull yet. So if you look, there was a couple of games at the start of the season and a couple of games just in the last couple of weeks. Let's say we've dropped points that we should have got, really now, honestly, at home specifically. We've probably dropped about nearly 12 to 15 points, right? I know it's silly to kind of talk about it like that, ifs and buts and should have. But that 41 plus 12 points, brings us to 53 points. We're in second. We're 4 points behind Liverpool. Just based off those couple of games. Okay, obviously Villa are playing well, Bournemouth are playing well, and Forest are playing well, but we've already beaten Forest. And again, we'll beat them this month as well at home. This is where I think that if we can get a draw even against City and play well, beat Forest, I can definitely see us getting it up into 3rd, 4th. But it's just, again, I feel a little bit brokenhearted that it's a missed opportunity that we could have been challenged in this year. Because there's definitely a shift in how different teams are playing. It's a lot tighter in the top 10. And I think that we just need a couple of additions just to bring our quality up. Because he can't keep getting the best out of these guys. I don't believe so.
Yeah.
Like Shar, Byrne, the older players. He can't keep getting the best.
It's an interesting one. I mean, I think the right time to look back is the end of the season. In terms of where points could have been and so on. Because equally, when you do runs like what we do, we also pick up points when you don't think we would as well. So, you can kind of level that out. But I think, as we sit here now, we're about to go and travel to the Etihad, regardless of the record we have there. This, I think, if we were to win, Alan, would be our 7th straight away win. Now, if we were our usual home selves and beating Fulham or Bournemouth or whoever it was, then you might argue, well, we probably would have lost some of the away games or drop points. So that's where that's where it's hard to see how it levels out. But I mean, as you said, it's all hypothetical, Christian. You don't know.
Yeah.
But Alan, like thinking about this now with the game at the weekend, we just seen Man City. They scraped through realistically against Leyton Orient in the FA Cup, and then they got Real Madrided by Real Madrid in midweek. So you're talking about kicking a team when they're down. Now it is still Man City, but the big question for me would be, knowing what you know about Man City, where they are right now, if we are if we are hoping to get at least a point, if not a win, where is it going to come from in terms of on the pitch? What battles do you think we can and should need to win?
We need to win the midfield battle. After that, it's down to man. We have to overrun their midfield. That's where every team is getting joy against Man City this year. And if hopefully, I don't think Joe Linton is back. Doesn't sound like he is, but whoever comes in for him, which I imagine will probably be Willock or Miley, depending on what way we're going to go. We have to win that battle. Unfortunately, Haaland, as not poorly as he's been playing, he's not scoring the same way he was. But that man's still a freak of nature when it comes to scoring goals. I don't care what anyone says. He's a freak when it comes to scoring goals. You have to keep him quiet. Whether it be Shara standing beside him for the whole game and just follow him around like a bad smell. The midfield is the massive place that we have to win. And I'm looking at Sandro Tonali and Bruno Guimaraes having two of the best games they're going to have for Newcastle at the City of Manchester, and we get out of there. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, agreed.
I think it makes sense, Christian, when you look at Man City's midfield. No, they're a little bit all over the place, but I think against Real Madrid, it was De Bruyne was in there. I mean, De Bruyne, he's still the creative threat, he always will be, right? But in terms of the energy, the legs, the cover, and the ground, between De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva, and then John Stones has been pushed into midfield. Gundogan is in there. They have Mateus Nunes, but he's been playing right back terribly for the last few weeks. Alan's point is surely valid here. Bruno, Tonali, and I do think it is probably a great game to start Willock in terms of energy and what will hopefully be an even bigger confidence boost, like a reassurance to go, right, you proved that you deserve to start, assuming Joel Linton isn't fit. And the running, the athleticism, the direct kind of approach, with all that energy of Tonali and Bruno around it, I can't but think we have to win that midfield battle. But we've been wrong before.
But like there's a distinct lack of confidence. They've fallen apart in games this season. You saw what happened against Real Madrid as well. They seemed like they pulled it back and start playing kind of like Man City again. You think, oh man, they're doing well here, but then they just fell apart again, and it keeps happening. It's like as if it's like a really long goodbye to some of these players. Like they were wonderful for years, and yet there's a couple of them now that maybe need to go to Turkey or head to Los Angeles or head somewhere else, because they're not at the top level, and it comes from Guardiola across. And I know he's obviously having his own issues off the pitch and stuff, but there's something. I said a couple of months ago that there was something rotten in the state of Denmark in Newcastle, but there's definitely something rotten in the state of Denmark in Manchester City at the moment. There's a distinct lack of confidence and cohesion. They don't seem to gel as well as they do. They have done in many years before. Haaland, again, like Al said, is deadly, but he does seem to be lumbering around the place, like aimlessly a lot. He gets dispossessed very quickly. Shark could easily do a job on him. I like what we did against Arsenal at St. James's Park. I'd like to see that happen again at Man City. The same formation, not the same tactics, of course, but the same formation, like a 5-4 or 5-3-2 or 5-4-1, and morphing into a 3-4-3 or whatever it is, but much more fluid and kind of play Man City at their own game. Is there goals in this game? 100%. And this is probably one of our best chances in, I don't know, the last maybe 5 to 6 years where we could actually get 3 points out of this. I just hope they wrap Isak in bubble wrap. I really do.
I think, Isak, they should be worried about Isak. Like Alan, I'm looking at it here. They have only kept, I think, 2 clean sheets in their last 10 games. Ipswich and Salford. Other than that, like they conceded 3 against Real Madrid. They conceded obviously against Leyton Orient. Arsenal put 5 past them. They conceded against Club Brugge. Chelsea, and then they had PSG in there as well. So we should be expecting Isak to score like big time. But with that, Alan, yes, I think Krisho's right. There's goals in this game. I think we can definitely score them. We've done podcasts before with Man City, and I've talked a lot about Dan Burn loving physical battles. He has managed Haaland really well in the past. I think we've managed Haaland well in the past. Krisho's mentioning, could we replicate the Arsenal tactic, the 3 at the back? But I think the reality is we might not have 3 centre backs fit to choose from. Question marks on Burn and Botman. So what would you expect from the back line, Alan? Do you think it'll be kind of revert to type, 4 at the back, and then it's Cher and another?
I think it's going to end up being Cher and Kraft at centre half, because I don't think Botman or Burn are going to make it.
What?
Yeah, I don't think either of them are going to make it. And then I think you're going to see Trippier and Hall either side. And I think you may see us revert back to a little bit more like 2 seasons ago, where Hall will act as a third centre half, maybe. Or maybe Trippier, because his legs aren't as much. He'll act as the third centre half and let Hall round for it. But yeah, I can't see us going with the 5 at the back fluid formation, because we simply don't have the players. Now, thankfully, none of the injuries are long-term injuries. Well, this is according to Craig Hope today. It's if they're not ready for this weekend, they'll be ready next weekend. But yeah, I can't see us actually having many of our starting back line ready to go for this game, which is always a worry when you're going to the City of Manchester Stadium.
Yeah, I mean, look at the 3 games, guys. I mean, Notts Forest at home, Liverpool away, Man City away. Before we get anywhere near sniff at this Carabao Cup day and celebratory weekend, hopefully they're tough. I mean, I know all games in the Premier League are tough, but they are tough ass games, the 3 of them. And I'm just concerned that he like you say, Al, he's gonna have to mix it up a little bit. There's no way we can play the same team for all of those games.
I know.
Like, injuries aside, there's gonna have to Longstaff's have to kind of come in and play a part. Willock's gonna have to come in and play a part. Asula. Maybe he's going to turn into the right winger. We all hope he is, or he's. I don't know if he's a striker. I have no idea. I really do believe they're trying to push him out to the right wing. But we're going to have to. I'm just really concerned that it's going to be so difficult against these 3 teams. I can see us beating Nottingham Forest. I can kind of see us hopefully getting a draw here, and F knows what happens at Anfield, because it's in the lap of the gods there.
I'll tell you what happens at Anfield. Mark Gillespie starts centre midfield and karate chops Mo Salah at 7 seconds in. That's what happens.
John Ruddy to Fury on the whole thing.
Exactly.
Oh, man. So good.
Yeah, the other thing that I don't know whether he's picked up on today, Anthony Gordon's also a doubt.
Oh, what?
Yeah, we're really down to the bare bones for Saturday.
I'd be, being honest, I'd be amazed. Like I do think Joe Linton is out, because I think when Eddie Howe was speaking about it now, granted it was a week ago, but he mentioned that he might miss a few league games. He didn't just say games; he also included league games. But I'd be amazed if Dan Burn doesn't somehow make himself available for this, unless his groin is actually gone. But I was hoping it was just precautionary when he came off.
We used to do this thing where lads go, "No, I'm fine." And
now we have
played 7 games. Now we Bunce. Bunce puts his foot down. So I have a funny feeling all these lads are going to claim they're all right, and they'll be sent straight down to Bunce's office, and he'll go, "Right, this is what you have to do." And they go, "I can't do that." And they go, "Right, back you off for a week." It's as much as we want to say it's all Eddie's decision. It's not all Eddie's decision. Bunce has a big say in what team we will have available. So I can't see very many of the lads. I don't think all of the lads will be out injured. I think we could have a couple. Gordon maybe off the bench.
I think Gordon will start. Genuinely think Gordon will start. We've seen Gordon before go off injured and then play 90 minutes the following week, or the following game. So again, that's me having a lot of faith and positive thoughts. I did notice, actually, I don't know if you spotted it, lads, from an Irish Mag's perspective, Carl Heffernan was training with the first team this week because he was snapped on the training pitch. So again, he's a centre half. So it's just interesting to see. But I mean, when Haaland is there, I want to see Dan Burn, because he just loves the physical battle, and he's matched him in the past. Do you know what I mean?
And congratulations to Alex Murphy. He scored his first goal.
He did.
Scored for Bolton, yeah. And I mean, we'll keep the Irish team going. The club finally announced what we've all known for ages. they announced on the website and on X and social media that Kyle Fitzgerald officially has arrived at the club. Got some nice photos in with his kit and everything. So we knew about it first. Check out the irishmags.com. We previewed him and did a profile ages ago. So, but great to see the Irish contingent doing well with all things connected to Newcastle. Apart from ourselves, lads, but that's a different problem.
Yeah, we're all good.
All good in the hood. Right. I'm going to push you, lads, for the hard question. I know we have a cup final looming. I know we have tough fixtures coming up. We'll do a big preview of the Forest game next week, Chris Show, because you and me are going to be traveling and we're going to get hard. But looking at this Man City game, Alan, let's start for your own prediction first. Knowing what you do know and knowing what you don't know, it's not what would you take, it's what do you think is going to happen on Saturday.
2-2 draw.
Interesting, because I just recorded a podcast prior to this for True Faith, and I went for the Desmond 2-2 as well.
2-2, yeah.
So, Chris Show, it's all down to you, Chris Show. What do you see?
I was going to say 2-2, frenetic first half, 2-2 in the first half. Nothing happens in the second half because nobody.
You're probably wearing a 2-2, but again, that's a different.
Yeah.
Hey, what the hell? It's toupee. But no, what's about? I think it's going to be 2-1 to Newcastle, and we're going to get a penalty in the last 10 minutes. It's going to be highly controversial. Gordon's going to take it, step up, knock it past Ederson, who, by the way, has been very poor this season. So
where the hell is Isak if Gordon's taking the penalty?
Isak's got taken off at 60 minutes so that he can be rested for the Notts Forest game. Because it's 1-1.
Okay, and Wilson doesn't come on?
Wilson does come on, but he doesn't take the penalty because he's confident.
Yeah, that doesn't happen. Wilson takes it. No such thing as an unconfident penalty taker as a striker.
Wilson's pretty unconfident. I don't think he takes the penalty. But anyway, look, Gordon takes the penalty in the 83rd minute. We win 2-1.
Wilson takes the penalty if we get it and he's on the pitch. I'll tell you that for no.
All right, okay, look at this. Right, let me just rephrase this. Right, Wilson takes the penalty in the 83rd minute after an argument with Gordon, and then we win 2-1.
This is why I said that you're such a terrible double act. This is what we're doing. Stop fighting on the podcast.
Sorry, guys. Hey, well, you say sorry, Al. But no, okay. 2-1.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the prediction all around, lads, what I'm taking is that we are taking points home.
Yes.
Taking 8 points, if not points, away from Man City. Something, as we've said, we've not done since 2014. And prior to that, for one more piece of trivia, lads, the last time we beat Manchester City away from home wasn't in the Etihad because it was in Main Road on the 30th of September 2000 is the last time, or the second last time prior to the one in 2014, that we beat Man City 1-0 in Main Road. I don't think I even need to ask you who you think scores in this game, lads, in the year 2000.
Was that the game that Shearer scored like one of the quickest goals in Premier League history?
Yeah.
He did score, but it was after 74 minutes, so it wasn't that.
That was at home, wasn't it? That was at home. I think that really quick goal. He ran and blocked the goal.
Yeah,
I can't remember the goal. I'd have to look it up. But just to keep the throwbacks going, this was a team that included Laurent Charvet, Didier Domi, Kevin Gallagher up front, and for me, the biggest and best, Daniel Cordone in midfield.
What a player!
That's a throwback.
Chef's kiss, that guy. Wow.
He came off on the 63rd minute for Lomano Trezor Lua. He didn't get a cartwheel.
What a player.
Right, that's enough of the... Well, actually, it's not enough of the throwbacks because it's time to have another throwback as a little spotlight for this week's pod, lads. You may remember I did give you some homework, which I mentioned at the top of the show. We've not looked at each other's homework for this one. We usually cheat. I haven't cheated today. I asked you for your Newcastle United all-time five-a-side team. Could and should you be entering into a tournament of said like? And listeners, viewers, if you're on YouTube, get it in the comments below what your own five-a-sides would have been. And what we'll do is we'll just go around player to player. So we'll start with goalkeeper, who possibly we'll all end up with the same goalkeeper, considering we're the Irish Mags. But you never know, Alan. Who is in goals for your all-time five-a-side?
The goalkeeper that I picked is the person who I picked my confirmation name after, and it's Shay Given.
Alan Shay. It wasn't Mike Williamson, no.
No.
No. Risho, same?
No, that's not the same.
Not much, okay.
No.
Not even surprised.
When I see Shay in London, I'll explain to him why. No, Shaka
Break him
Hislop.
gently.
Shaka Hislop, and I'm picking. I'm picking Shaka Hislop because he was tall and bandy, and he had big arms and big legs.
I'm okay with it.
In a five-a-side goal, he would be very dominating and very big. Shay Given was a great shot stopper, but Shaka Hislop had it all. So Shaka Hislop.
Okay, yeah, right, fair enough.
I'm okay with this mainly because of the goalkeeper jersey that was around when Shaka Hislop was in goal.
That was
just like
it was wearing it last week.
You'd love to see that. Yeah, you were actually. I remember that. I couldn't not go for Shay Given. I even tried not to, but it's just some things you just can't mess with. And Shay Given and goals is one of them for me.
I've missed it.
Right. Alan, who is in your back line? And if there's two of them, you can go both of them.
No, there's only one in my back line, and I want curly hair too, Fabrizio Calaccini.
Nice. Will you sing us a line of the Calaccini song, please?
If we win the Carabao Cup, I will.
Okay, that'll be on
When
the
we
vlog.
You heard it here live. You heard it here live, everybody. You heard it here live.
That is on the internet now, so you heard it here live, folks. Okay. Krisho, what about yourself from a defensive point of view? Are you going with one or two?
I'm going one. I'm going one at the back, and I only need one. Man Mountain. Yeah, John Anderson is going in.
Oh,
We've had him on the
friend of the
podcast.
pod.
Friend of the pod, yeah.
Friend of the pod. And I've watched back on some stuff, and he was a demon of a defender. Jesus, Mahoney. He was dangerous nearly. So, yeah, five-a-side pitch, he'd kill everybody on it. But in a fair way, of course, because he's a good man. So, yeah, John Anderson. Sticking it for us and for the pod.
It is a great shout. We had him on the podcast a while back, folks. If anyone has missed that, do be sure to go back. Also, one of the few Newcastle players who've ever gotten a testimonial from the club because he was there for 10 years. And I just know if you're playing this five-a-side team that whoever's up front gets the ball and you'll just hear, just put it in the net. From way back. So I'm on board with that. I've gone for one, lads, in the hope that on the five-a-side pitch, not too much running or ground needs to be covered, and I've gone with Jonathan Woodgate. So I reckon I can keep him fit enough.
Yeah, fair.
To play
for like 10 minutes, 12 minutes.
It's fine. We're only doing 5 minutes aside, and it's only one game. I just wish I could have seen more Jonathan Woodgate in the Newcastle kit. So this is the only chance I'll get. Okay, Alan, let's go on into midfield. I assume maybe you'll have two in midfield then?
I have sitting in the midfield and I have a roamer in the midfield. The stitter in the midfield was so further forward. I went to Hatem Ben Arfa because him on a five-a-side pitch would just be absolutely amazing to watch. And I actually have a bit of insight on this. My mate Lee used to play for Newcastle, and I just remember asking him what was Ben Arfa like, and he said that kid was a joke of a footballer. It didn't matter what he done. He'd show up to training 45 minutes late, get out in his slippers, and he'd walk through every single player on the pitch. So him on a five-a-side pitch would be one of the most amazing things to see. And then sitting, I went with Czech Tiote, but that was a real 50-50 decision between Tiote and J7. But Tiote just tick around kicking people is who I went with.
Good call.
I mean, that's the five-a-side that you play every Wednesday in Dublin, so you're going to need someone to be around kicking people, you know. If you know, you know. Right, Krisho, whatever. I like the Ben Arfa shot, by the way. I'm not going to lie, he was on mine, but I've just mentally removed him and swapped him out there. He was originally on my list, but actually someone edged him. We'll see who Krisho goes with.
Yeah, okay. Okay. So two midfielders also, and two local boys, Gaza and or Paul Gascoigne, as he's actually known, and Peter Beardsley. Nice. Two tricky beasts, small pitch, five-a-side. You wouldn't get anywhere near them, basically. And the shooting, passing, and interchange with John Anderson standing behind him. Good Lord, basically. I mean, it'd be 10-0 in the blink of an eye. So, yeah, those two ultimately talented people in midfield.
Beardsley was the one I was going with as well. I mean, I think Beardsley was just such a magician.
We love him.
Absolute wizard on the ball, and again, could just in anywhere, in any part of the pitch, especially on a five-a-side, I just think could do the job. Bruno is the one I went with alongside him.
Wow,
and I thought about it in terms of, you know, do we need? Cause I really wanted to put Ben Arfa in there, and I just thought it'd be just chaos and nobody helping poor Johnny Woodgate, who's on his last legs at all times. Bruno just like what Bruno can do with the ball in no space is just ridiculous. He gets 2-3 lads around him and emerges with the ball or gets a pass off or gets fouled. And I just think for that reason, he's just unbelievable. Bit of Samba in the five-a-side as well. Can't go wrong.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Now we come to the last position, which is going to be an interesting one for different reasons, considering it's five-a-side. Up front, Alan.
It's the greatest goal scorer in Premier League history, Sir Alan Shearer. Easy answer.
Yeah.
Shock horror.
Well, and he can go and goal as well if needs be, I suppose.
Yeah.
Impossible not to, really, in fairness.
Yeah.
Okay. Krisho.
Oh, you're gonna love this, right?
Jeff
Five-a-side.
Hendry.
No, wait. Well, Jeff's going to be on the sidelines giving out water and stuff, because that's what he does now. But no, this is. I know people. Not everybody might remember this, but Mirandinha, he signed for us in '87. He left us in '89. He left a big Brazilian flag on all our hearts. Yeah, 54 games, 20 goals. Throw a little bit of Samba in there. Do you know what I mean? Old retro centre forward, linking up with Gaz and Beardsley. Oofed, delicious. Yeah, can track back, help out John Anderson. A dream striker. Yeah, there was many strikers to pick from that we were all huge fans of. I was thinking of putting Duncan Ferguson in there just to start rows and get stuck into everybody. But then I thought, no, that wouldn't, lining up Anderson and Ferguson together on the one team. Well, they'd be sent off in 2 minutes. But Mirandinha, ooh la la, he'd hacky sack his way all the way through the pitch. And he'd score many goals.
Hacky sack. That's what you wanted a five-a-side when you've got Chip Teote up against you, just kicking lumps. Love it. Can't go wrong with that. So I obviously Shearer is the first one that came to mind, and then I thought, well, probably at least one of you would go with it. So I decided to go something a bit different. And initially, I was going with Isak, and then I thought, you know what, Isak needs more space to run into, to run around. The pitch would be too small for him. So instead, I went with Andy Cole.
That's who I was.
Love the idea of Andy Cole.
That was my battle.
Goals for fun.
And
just I think Bruno pinging balls into him, and a bit of wizardry from Beardsley to find. Yeah, I'd be on board with that. Yeah. That's three good, interesting, decent teams, lads. If only we could get those boys together for a one-off. And we might get those out in socials as well. But listeners, make sure to get your own five-a-side teams in the YouTube chat comments below. Let us know who you would have gone with. Anyone we missed. Ginola, I won't lie, Ginola always comes to mind for me.
Yeah.
As well, but I just get battered on a five-a-side. I think he wouldn't be able to take it.
He wouldn't.
Nice. Imagine Gaza in a five-a-side. The crack would be 90.
Yeah.
Okay, lads. Let's move towards the end of the show. I'm going to give you a little quiz before we wrap up. But Alan, before I do that, what are the plans for this weekend for the Manchester City game?
So I'm only going to tell you about one of our meetups today, and I'm going to leave the other to someone else. But naturally, in Dublin this week, we are going to have our meetup in the Bleecker Street Bar, just off Dorset Street. So anyone in and around Dublin, come on up, come on in. You're more than welcome. So that's Bleecker Street Bar in Dublin. We do have one other meetup on the Isle of Ireland. I'm going to ask our local Galwegian to explain what's going on, because he's going to be running this meetup. So
I don't know. I have no idea. I didn't realize.
Krisho must be just. I think he thinks you said our local Manchester United fan.
Hilarious.
Yeah, we're gonna do a little meetup in Galway for anyone who fancies a trip out west. There are Galway Irish mags around, but the conduct group actually is quite busy, but it's a lot of Mayo, Sligo. It's kind of spread, I suppose. So we're going to try and get a few of us down. There's about 3 or 4 of us confirmed at the moment. Obviously, Chris, a man that would never miss a meetup, is going to be there as well. So we're heading for a bar called Mary Mullins, which is just off Eyre Square. New enough bar. It's actually a really, really good bar as well, and they've class music at the evening time as well. If we get that far, you never know. But you know I will. That's anyway. Galway, an overdue Galway meetup, I think is how I describe it. So if anybody fancies coming along, get in touch, and it's going to be a good weekend. Right, gentlemen, it's been a while, and as Krisho downs the rest of his red wine, perfect time to give you a little quiz, lads, for the weekend. That's it.
Here we
Very simply, lads, this isn't complicated. Just a bit of a test of your knowledge, as usual. 15 players have played for both Newcastle United and Manchester City since the Premier League began in 1992-93. So we're going to stick with 92-93 onwards. I've got a list of 15 players who've played for both. And looking at it, I think I'd have faith in you to get 14. But that's maybe I'm being too generous for you. Krisho, I'll give you a freebie to start off because you're full of red wine and hopes and notions. Give us your
notions. Oh, classic. The guy everybody loves to hate. No, actually, hang on. I wouldn't say loves to hate. They just hate. Joey Barton.
Joey Barton is hated, and rightly so, because he deserves it, is correct.
Yeah, I have to get him out of the way. He puts a bad taste in my mouth, so I have to get him out of the way.
The greatest goalkeeper ever to grace St. James's Park as a Newcastle player, Shay Given.
Shay Given, who I believe was named after Alan's confirmation name, is correct. Correct indeed. Back to you, Krisho.
Another superstar player. I think he's still playing now at 48. James Milner.
James Milner is indeed correct. 178 games for Man City and 114 for Newcastle. Gets you a point. 2-1. Alan.
Craig Bellamy.
Gregory Bellamy is indeed correct. 43 appearances for City, 111 for Newcastle. And it's 2-2. The Desmond.
Another Man Mountain and a very underrated player by certain circles, but he played for England, he played for both of these clubs. Steve Howie.
Steve Howie is a great shout. 163 appearances for Newcastle. I didn't realize 94 appearances for Manchester City.
We sold him. Yeah, we sold him to Man City.
Yeah. Good defender as well. That's correct. Krisher takes a 3-2 lead. Alan.
Someone who we got in on loan. I think we got him on loan from Villa, though, but he did play for Man City. Stephen Ireland.
Oh.
Stephen Ireland. 150 games for Manchester City and a grand total of 2 games for Newcastle United, which I was a bit surprised by that it was only 2. But
I think he came in on loan and got injured instantly, and we were like, great, that was pointless.
And he's a bit of a lunatic at the best of times. But it's correct. 3-3. Krisho, back to you.
I think another player, that went the other way because it kind of didn't work out at Newcastle is Sylvain Distin.
Oh, shout.
Sylvain Distin is a shout. 28 games for Newcastle only. Probably was just there for a season. 182 appearances for Man City is correct. Puts Krisho into the 4-3 lead. Alan.
This one, I'm about 80% sure he played for Man City. And it annoys me that he left us after one season of Didi Hamann.
Oh.
Didi Hamann played 23 games for Newcastle and 59 games for Manchester City, and has even more appearances for the RTE pundit team for whatever reason.
Great pundit.
Correct. Great pundit. He just looks like a psychologist when he's pulling.
Yeah.
Did he go Liverpool, Newcastle, Man City, or
No, he went Newcastle, Liverpool, Man City.
Newcastle, Liverpool?
Or, I think there was someone in between Liverpool and Man City.
He was at us in 98 and then he left, and he only went to Man City then in 2006.
I'm kind of running a bit close to the bone here. Excuse the expression. Stuart Pearce.
Stuart Pearce.
I'm not sure if he played for Man City. I think he managed.
I think he was a manager then, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Stuart Pearce played 39 times for Newcastle in the 97-98 kind of a period. And he played 38 times for Man City in 2001.
Great shot.
All right.
Krisho takes a 5-4 lead.
Pure
in the
guess.
Prem that year.
Oh, it's a Premier League era. It's not Premier League era. Don't ever give the quiz host shit because it won't serve you well.
Yeah, He's still going to win, though, I'm telling you.
-1.
Yeah, -1 now. It's 5-3. Come on.
And Andy Cole played for City as well, didn't he?
Andy Cole, already mentioned on tonight's show,
Yeah.
played 73 times for Newcastle between 1992 and 1994, and played 22 times for Man City in 2005,
Yes.
scoring 9 goals. Good
He
shout.
went from Blackburn to them, I think.
5-5, lads.
This is the last.
Yeah.
Right? This is no. I mean, this is the last roll of the dice here. Like, and I mean this genuinely. Bald. No idea why we signed him. Kind of at the peak of Anton Sibierski.
Yeah, great show.
Anton Sibierski. He played 35 times for Newcastle in 2006. But prior to that, he played 93 times for Man City in the artist formerly known as Man City back in their day of 2003-2005. Scored 12 goals for Man City. Scored 7 for us. There you go. Facts.
He did all right. Like, he did all right.
Krisho moves into a 6-5 lead, Alan.
Yeah, and I think he might have me here.
Yeah, I don't know.
I can tell you there are. So I have 3 players left on the list.
3.
2. I'll throw you a bone here quickly because 2 of their names have been mentioned on this podcast since we started recording for various reasons.
2 of their
We've
names
talked about a lot of things now, but 2 of those names were said out loud on this podcast.
Peter Beardsley played for Man City.
Is that your final answer?
Well, I'm running out of players here, so yeah, that's my final answer.
Peter Beardsley, who played 139 times from, it's only from 93 onwards, we're measuring 93 to 96, 139 times. He played 6 times for Man City in 1997.
Fuck.
Which I did not know. Wow. What a shout.
Was he on the list?
Peter Beardsley on the list.
Oh, he was on the list. That's all right.
6-6, lads. Crucial.
Look, I've got like, you know, I use my pen. Everybody knows I use my pen during the podcast. I'm writing notes, writing everything, this, that, and the other. I do write down certain things the guys say, and all I've got written here, apart from Shaka Hislop and Gaza, is Lawrence Charvet, who was just mentioned like about 11, 12 minutes ago.
Mm-hmm. I have no idea.
But that, like, there's no way that he plays for Man City. Like, he barely played for us. I literally can't think of anyone else.
Lawrence Charvet played 42 times for Newcastle, scoring 1 goal between 1998 and 2000.
Mm-hmm.
After which he moved from Newcastle. After which he went south from Newcastle. Mm-hmm. After which he arrived in Manchester.
Yeah.
On the blue side of Manchester, where he played 23 times for Manchester. And I did read his name out when we were talking about that game. Probably one of the last games he would have played for Newcastle. But that does put Crisho into a lead, Alan.
Yeah, but that's all right. Because I just remembered a former Coventry striker that played for us for a season. I think it was a season. And then ended up at Manchester City. And he was a little bollocks, shall we say. Darren Huckerby. I actually met him when I was over at a Coventry match with my granddad.
Coventry links.
So pull that.
Well, I can tell you that Darren Huckerby, according to the facts I have here, played 1 time for Newcastle in 1995, which sounds weird. Maybe it's counting league games. I don't know. I pulled this from FBref, and it's usually pretty solid. But more importantly, between the years 2000 and 2002, played 69 times for Manchester City. Much to Crisho's distaste, Alan has leveled the game at 7-7. And I did guess that you'd get 14, lads, and you have got 14. There is one more I have on the list. And the only thing I can do for you, lads, is tell you that earlier when I was describing, not the last time, but the time before that, when Newcastle last beat Man City away, the year 2000, this man was in goals for Manchester City. And that's all I can tell you, but I will openly admit that I would never get this myself.
Who was in goals from that? Oh, this guy was in goals from Man City.
This is the answer. The answer is the guy was in goals for Man City in this particular game.
2000.
And I can put hand on heart say I would never have got this. So it's open. First man to shout it if you think you might know. And then I'll start giving you the time frames.
Thought it was Nicky Weaver in goal back then, but I don't think he played for us, did he?
It wasn't Nicky Weaver in goal for that particular game.
I'm scrambling here looking for the Manchester City goalkeepers. When?
No,
when
he wasn't. He wasn't even on the bench, Nicky Weaver.
When was it again? 2000?
It was the 30th of September 2000, League Cup 4th round.
Did
A
he
Man
join
City team that
us
contained.
after or before he played for Man City?
He joined Man City. I'll give you the time frames. He was at Newcastle from 1992 to 1999.
Pavel,
And then he
no,
joined
it
Man
wasn't. Was it Pavel Cernicek? No, it wasn't.
It wasn't. I can tell you, it wasn't Pavel Cernicek. I need to look this guy up because there must have been a loan. There must have been some loan or something here because the years are overlapping as per this list. So I need to look up these exact details. So, okay, I'm just looking at his Wikipedia now. Joined Newcastle 1988 until 1993. It says here. I see why the years are all messed up here. Okay, so he was at Newcastle until 1993. He was then at Forest. There was a loan to Hull City, a loan to Reading. He went on loan to Man City in 97, and then he signed permanently. And while he was at Man City from 97 to 2001, there was a loan back to Newcastle in 1999. This is all over the place. But long story short, early 90s at Newcastle, late 90s, early 2000s at Man City.
And... yeah, okay. And he's Irish.
Messi. Who said he's Irish?
I said he's Irish.
I can tell you he's Northern Irish, but I don't know where you got the Irish.
Yeah, he's Irish.
It's a tough one, lads. I never would have got this. And listeners, if any of you would have got this, make sure you put it in YouTube because I can say I definitely wouldn't have got this one.
Johnny left.
Should I put you out of your misery, lads?
Yes,
Johnny left.
I don't know.
Chris Shaw, how have you picked up on this? Have you Googled something on the side?
Yes, there has to be a keeper that played for both of us that we must.
Yeah, Johnny left, or the correct answer being Tommy Wright.
yeah. Sorry, guys, I checked.
He snuck a look. I never would have got that myself.
Never would have pulled that one out of anywhere.
So that's what 7-all. It's a draw. Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Ends in a draw.
Yes. Or it could be a bonus question that only I know. Only I know.
I mean, we're on 55 minutes here, but if I was to give you one, I'll tell you what, I'll give you one.
Oh, no.
Of all the ex-Newcastle players that we just named who played for Man City, who had the most minutes, or the most matches played, for Man City?
Sibierski.
Sylvan Distan, I would have thought.
So I can tell you, it's not Sibierski.
Hey.
Milner had 178.
Oh yeah, he would have.
Sylvan Distan, 182. Alan Williamson wins the tiebreaker. And it wasn't Sibierski, Chris, I'm afraid.
He's about 50, I'd say.
Yeah, that's it.
So happy for you, Al.
Right.
So happy for you.
Oh, look, for the records will go down saying it was a draw, Chris Show for
then an asterisk beside my name after penalties.
We won't judge him for having a sneaky Google there while he was sucking his red wine. And on that absolute train wreck of a bombshell, that brings episode 63 of the Irish Mags Show to a close. As usual, folks, a big thanks for tuning in, listening. Make sure you're hitting the subscribe, leave us a nice review wherever you're listening. And as I said, drop some comments with your five-a-side teams. And if you did better than the lads in that quiz, check out theirishmags.com where we'll have all the updates, especially all of the cup final plans that you heard.
Yeah.
And as we said, next week we'll be doing a big Forest preview with myself and Chris Show heading over to the Toon. And not long after that, we'll be having our cup final special. So until then, all we'll say is fingers crossed for a good result against Man City. Hopefully have a good weekend. And as usual, we'll be back for more Irish Magnus next week. Until then, how the lads? Slán, go fall. We'll see you all very soon. Say goodbye, gentlemen.
Slán.